everybody. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. This is This Week in Metals. This is Peter Thomas. How are you?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's getting warm here, and we're really enjoying it. And let me tell you something: if you get a little cold, just watch the market for about 5 minutes, and it'll warm you right up.
All
Another
right.
wild week, my man.
Another wild week.
You bet.
And how about that 16 handle in gold?
Oh, he's all right, folks. He's been calling that 16 handle for about 8 weeks now. He got it. So,
Now I'm done.
all
Buy it up.
right, all right. Tip of the hat. Here you go. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, so gold ended down 1.9% last week. It was the third consecutive lower weekly close. Set a 9-month low, 1687.16 on
Yeah.
Friday.
Oh yeah.
Um, the level that I was watching was the Fibonacci level,
Oh, all right.
1689.48. So that again was 61.8% retracement of the March to August rally, where ultimately, to the new all-time high at 2074 and
Well,
change. So
the two bearish things, Pete, that I was looking at was yield trumps inflation, baby. I mean, we're watching
that's
those
it.
yields rally, and whoa, and the gold. I mean, it's almost tick for tick,
Yeah,
and while the yield is rallying, the ETF sold 470,000 troy ounces of gold over the last 3 months. So the pressure has been just staggering. And considering that we're still up around here is not that bad.
right. Yeah. So 14 consecutive days of outflows
Yep.
through Thursday last week, and probably a 15th day on Friday would be my guess. Um, and that the yields traded above 10-year yield, which is the kind of the benchmark that we watch.
Right.
10-year yields traded above 1.6%
Which
for the first time since February of last year, so a little bit 13-month high in
yeah,
yields. What was
big boy.
interesting about it, we had been noting that even though yields had been rising, um, that the dollar was acting like kind of a dog. Well, that sort of
Yeah,
changed this week.
it
We
did,
saw,
didn't it? That's a
yeah,
good
we saw
point.
the dollar index set a 4-month high, and so maybe things are shifting around a little bit, and the yields are getting high enough where the dollar is taking note, and we're seeing some
Okay.
foreign inflows into the treasury market, which requires buying dollars
Yep.
first.
Yep.
Um, so,
So the
um,
dollar just might not be as dead as China's saying it is, right?
well, right, and in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
this is still not much of a rally, but it's
Yeah.
looking like it might have a little bit of leg to it after at least the latter half of the past week. We saw a decent bid in the greenback.
Yeah.
Um, so
We
yeah,
had
that
some
was the big
we had
thing.
some bullish news here on the other side, on the flip side of gold. India. We've been talking about this for a while. Very, very active, and and Kazakhstan came in again buying. And here's something interesting too. One of the things we always like to point out is what's driving the market. China came out and said, you know what? We're really getting tired of buying other people's chips. We're going to start manufacturing for ourselves here, and we're going to increase our chip manufacturing here, which really puts the whammy on South Korea. But it also means they're going to need more rare earths, more silver, and a lot more gold. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it makes it easier for them to build in, espionage type stuff into their chipsets too.
I'm shocked.
Watch out for those Chinese chips. Anyways, I know I got your point is well taken. Um, another thing about so we had been saying with each downtick in gold in price that it becomes more appealing to the Asian physical buyers. And
Yeah, it's
while
well
we've
put.
noticed throughout the decline, kind of increasing interest from India and China,
Yeah.
that really picked up in this past week. You know. One Shanghai dealer reported a 710% increase in sales during the week-long Chinese New Year Spring Festival period versus
Yeah,
last year. And again, last year
staggering number.
with the outbreak of COVID, doesn't set a very high bar necessarily, but still
Oh,
710%
it's
is a
a big
pretty good
number. I mean,
number.
last compared to last year, which was just brutal. I mean, it's just nice to see some activity in Asia again,
Yeah.
from the retails. All right,
Yeah, and
and
six to $7 premium in China, generally speaking,
that's
um,
huge.
to about a $5 premium in India is what they're seeing these days.
Yep.
And with the price of gold in terms of rupee is near a 1-year low. So again, saw really strong demand in India,
Yep.
particularly wedding related purchases.
And
So
I
that
think they
that
had
all
a
looks
new
pretty good.
tax cut from about 2%, which
Yeah.
adds a tremendous amount of value to gold also. So it's been a lot of positive things coming out of India, who used to be the number one consumer of gold for many, many years. So that's a
Here's
good
the
sign.
thing. Here's the thing, though. They're trying to offset 4 million ounces of outflows from the ETF. So that's a that's a tough row to hoe, at least initially.
Well,
But it
it's
can
going
absolutely
somewhere,
happen.
buddy. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I could tell you that ZanerPreciousMetals.com is seeing gold flying off the shelves. So
We had a big
it's
week.
definitely going somewhere, right?
We did have a big week
Yeah,
last
we had
week.
we had a
So
very big week in gold and silver as
yeah,
well. I mean, we had a lot of demand in silver, so I think that was very interesting.
yeah. So kind of also on the positive side, in my opinion, the Biden administration $1.9 trillion stimulus package has cleared both the House and the Senate initially, so there'll be some reconciliation, and then ultimately it'll go to the president's desk, it looks like. Um, and so, again, more liquidity,
More liquidity,
more
right?
debt, more treasuries issued,
Yep.
which is going to, the more supply there on the treasury side, even if the Fed's buying it all, um, is going to drive up, is
Oh
going to
yeah,
keep
that
the upward
M1
pressure
number,
on
M1
yields.
number will knock you unconscious. There's
Yeah,
no
it's
question about it. And also,
straight
I
up.
think it's time to move into silver, and the auto industry just came out with projections, which were rehashed in the Silver Institute letter, which is the best letter on silver that I know. And they punched out to 2025 on what we're seeing, and they're talking about 90 million ounces of silver for new automobile manufacturing. So
Yeah, and
we're
it
seeing
that
some
brings
big
it.
consumption numbers,
Yeah, it brings it within striking distance of the solar industry in terms of total silver usage, which is
Colloidal suspensions used to trap sun to create the passage of electricity. Huge demand in China, and right now the 2021 consumption from what they call the silver projects, which is generally industrial usage, is 1.025 billion, friends. That's a big demand. So no matter what they say about silver, it's still being snatched up on these breaks, and it's going to manufacturers.
yeah, and it looks like, perhaps as early as 2030 that the auto industry might surpass the solar industry in terms of total silver usage. The I read that report as well, and
Yeah.
if you look at kind of the average amount of silver in a battery electric vehicle
Hmm.
versus a conventional internal combustion vehicle,
Yes.
it's about 40% more in a battery electric vehicle. So
Right.
as electric vehicles get see wider adoption, the
Hmm.
demand for silver is going to go up. I'm sure that's factored into the 90 million number for 2025.
Well,
Um,
too, is that our scrappers, I mean, they're getting more and more and more efficient. They're using Tornado to auto hedge with to strip the risk out of their companies. They're just getting much more efficient in their gathering of suspensions. And I'm wondering what in let's just say in the next 2 or 3 years, how efficient they're going to get in stripping out silver, nickel, cobalt, all the metals that are going into some of these complex batteries. It's going to be very interesting to see what recovery ratios look like.
Yeah. No, it's gets more and more sophisticated every year for
It
sure.
does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Um, so ultimately, silver was down 5.4% last week. It was the third consecutive lower weekly close, and we set a 5-month low on Friday at 24.82. Um, the ratio, the gold silver
There we
ratio,
go.
hit a 3-week high of 68.24. And I don't like when silver leads on the downside. That
Mhm.
always troubles me. So I'm
And
a
it
little
and
bit
it
worried
does
about
it
that.
rapidly too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not a huge rally in the ratio yet. If we stay below 70, I guess I'm okay. If we go above 70, then I'd be a little bit concerned about some downside follow through in silver.
okay.
Um, but at this point, so think about it. Gold set a 9-month low last week, and the,
Right.
the the low in silver was a 5-week low. So that kind of give you an indication
It
where we
goes
are
it
with
goes
regards
to
to the
the validity
ratio.
of consumption. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
So,
bottom
where
line,
do you want to go, my friend? PGM or
PGMs. Let's do
PGM? It
PGMs.
is
Platinum down 3.2% last week, second
right.
consecutive lower weekly close, set a 4-week low at 1106. Um, I think the fundamentals for the industrial metals, still look good.
I'd
Um,
agree.
I think, copper remains the kind of the barometer on that, and we'll talk
Okay,
about that in a minute.
sure.
But I think the setbacks in silver, platinum, palladium provide buying opportunities,
I like your attitude,
and I think that that's going to continue to be the
but
case.
I
But
have no reason to be bullish metals. I mean, just just on a hunch.
yeah, those
Yeah,
markets still look good.
yeah,
The
they
dominant.
do. And you know what? I mean, let's just give our viewers an example here. All right. Cobalt, which at one point traded at 110 and then went all the way down to 10, right? It's at 18 now, and it's an industrial metal. Take a look at, all right. So if it goes back to the lowest low and lowest ever been, you're going to give up $8. If it decides to run over the next couple of years, you could make 4, 5, 600%. It's all a possibility. But I'm just saying that some of these industrial metals, going along with what you're saying, Pete, really do have the potential for growth.
Yeah, emphasis on possibility. Obviously, we're
Yeah.
not encouraging any kind of
Oh, no, not
speculation
at
or
all.
anything.
And there's no
Um,
exchange you can trade cobalt on anyway.
right.
So, it's a very difficult one to say. But we've talked about rare earths. We've talked about some of these metals that are going to be needed in the future. It's
Cobalt's one
just
of them.
cobalt's right in there. Yeah. Lithium's in there too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So palladium
Ah,
actually closed up slightly, 0.86%
put
last
in a
week.
nice show. Rhodium
Yeah,
and palladium
I mean,
both. Yeah.
still, well within its recent range, but a little disappointed in the auto industry. I mean, we saw, I think it was a 5.7% decline in U.S. auto sales. That's inclusive of light trucks
Yeah.
in January. So we kind of plateaued out at like 16 million units
But
ish.
China countered it. The yin and the yang was there. China was
Yeah,
big buyers. They're palms in on cars. So, if they stay with their green plan, right?
right.
Yes,
For the uninitiated, palms in means you're a buyer,
it do.
as opposed to palms out, seller.
Palms out is you are a seller.
Right.
You don't want to have
Coming
too
from
many
the guy from
fingers
the
up there
pit.
if you don't mean to, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Got to be careful there on your hand
Yes, you
signals.
do.
Don't
Mm,
scratch your nose or anything.
yeah, yeah, really. Twist your hand with one finger, and all of a sudden you own
Scratch
a
your
thousand.
scratch your forehead and you got 500 lots. Whoo.
500, yeah. I'll take 500 of those, yeah. Mm,
Yeah. So again, we're watching the auto industry pretty closely, but
we have
again,
to.
I think that even with conventional cars, and I've said this before, even with conventional cars, that tighter emission standards are going to require greater loading of palladium and
Yeah,
platinum,
yeah,
and for that
a
matter,
higher
for silver.
percentage of
As they pile more silver into these new cars, new technology, they're going to require additional silver as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And which is why we gave our viewers the projections for going out the next few years. It just
Yeah.
appears to be that way. And also, don't forget we were the people that broke the hydrogen story, and we still believe that we're going to see hydrogen being used for a fuel in the not too distant future.
And that bodes well for platinum.
Absolutely right.
Let's end on copper, my friend. Dr. Copper ended up, it, things weren't looking good
Well,
midweek.
we had a blip in the super cycle is what we had. It was
Holy
just a
cow. At
bloop,
one
and
point, copper was down 6% on the week.
yeah, oh,
However, on
yeah,
Friday,
there was a day called Friday in which everybody that was really getting comfortable being short got buried.
so they went palms in.
Palms in would be correct, sir. That would
They
be
bought
the
it back
bid
up.
side of copper.
On,
Copper was
on,
hanging in the 16 area, and the next thing they knew, they were at 1704 in about 3 trades, and they went, what just happened? And then it
right.
continued to run. And I think we almost picked up 1,700 points at one point here. It was a scary rally going into Friday. And I don't know whether it was evening up. You know what I'm saying, Pete? Is for Friday, I'm going to cover my shorts, take my profit, or new positions going in at those levels, people needing product. I mean, it's a tough call. Hopefully, we can clear it up a little bit next week for you guys.
Right. So yeah, on Friday alone, the market rallied 4%. We ended up 0.3% on the week. So not
Wow.
much, but still, it was the
Wow.
fifth consecutive higher weekly close in copper.
Well, and the thing is that come Wednesday, Peter Grant's Grant on Gold comes out, and we'll try to stuff a recap in there of what's going on in copper, because you really want to catch that. It's a great midweek recap of what's going on during the trading day. If you scrappers are too busy working in the yards, your recyclers are too busy running your plants, it's a quick read, lets you know what happened up to that time.
I have to tell you, I don't typically write about copper. It's more of a retail oriented
when
newsletter.
you have a move of 40 cents in there, I think it's worth a mention.
Yeah. And I must also confess that we were so busy last week and the week before, for that matter,
Oh,
that it actually didn't go out until Thursday. So despite
okay.
my
Well,
best
I
efforts,
look at all of our guys know that at ZanerPreciousMetals.com, we'd actually had metal. There isn't that flashing little sign up there going delivery in 10 to 14 weeks, and it's because of him. He's been killing himself the last 2 weeks buying everything on the street and keeping this stuff coming in, because there's a lot of people out there running out of metal, and we've just been fortunate enough to be able to scrounge literally to get coins in small bars, because there's big stuff around, as you know, but the smaller stuff has just been snatched up, and especially in the silver, it's just incredibly difficult to find. But Pete's been doing a great job. We appreciate you, man.
you're too kind. You're too kind.
Yep.
Well, with that, my friend, I think we've covered all of our bases. And
You got it.
so give us a like, give us a
Yeah,
follow,
and a
catch
follow.
us on all of the social media channels as well. Uh,
Absolutely.
I'm Grant on Gold, where you can get me on Twitter, and also grantongold.com to sign up for that newsletter. And you guys have a great trading week.
And we are in Reddit, and we are also Goldblug. 007 is out there, and we are going to continue to putting out as much information as we can. Once we drill down on it, make sure it's legit.